Howdy. Today we got the Dodge Charger RT Plus. There's an RT and an RT Plus. The Plus has got more stuff in it. So let's make some distinctions first. First, this isn't a Daytona. The Charger Daytona is the electric car. This one, the RT, has the lower output inline-six twin turbo engine. Then there's also the Scat pack that has more power. Substantially more. This one has 420, the other one has 550. So there you go. Obviously what Dodge did here, they developed an EV that was hugely unpopular, and then they scrambled for the next 2 years and they turned it into a gasoline powered sedan, which is what we have here. And well, let's start off with the good stuff. It drives really well. It's a big ass American sedan that nobody else really makes. Even the lower power output engine is fantastic. This thing hauls ass. Look at the headlights as I kneel down. It's more power than anybody needs. It is really fast. Dodge claims that it does 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds and a quarter mile in 12.9. It's a 12-second car, and it's the lower powered engine. It's got 420 horsepower, 468 pound-feet of torque. The turbo makes 22 pound-feet of boost. For comparison, the Scat pack has 550 horsepower and 531 pound-feet of torque. That power is going to all-wheel drive. Dodge is claiming that the front-wheel drive is disconnectable and it becomes rear-wheel drive. Well, yes and no. On the RT, you can't select that manually. It does that automatically depending on your driving modes. But as far as you're concerned, most of the time it is all-wheel drive and you can't really disconnect it. Also, it's got a few other things, such as a variable exhaust. It's actually quite loud at startup, and it sounds great when passing, but the exhaust has two modes, loud and more loud. But you can't really select which ones you want. It actually sounds great, but it can be annoying if you're trying to sneak out of your mistress's house or something like that, because you're gonna wake up the neighborhood. So be careful which vehicle you take to see your side piece. Other than that, 8-speed automatic transmission, which has been a gold standard for everything. It does occasionally have a weird shift here and there, but otherwise it's very well geared and very well matched up to this engine. Again, the engine, I drove a Ram 1500 with it. I really like this engine. It won't make me miss the V8, at least the not 5.7. Should this car have a V8? Absolutely, I think so. Can you fit one in? I don't know. I don't know if a 6.2 can fit in here or not. It will be a tight squeeze, but I'm sure there's people at Dodge who are desperately working on shoehorning one in. There's some alarm going off over there. Sorry about that. But it feels like it needs a V8. It doesn't need it per se, if that makes sense. Anyway, they didn't quite make this into a sedan. They made it into a hatchback. And, you know, given the amount of cars on the market right now, a lot of them are hatchbacks. We get Audis, we get Acuras, we get BMWs that are hatchbacks. We get a whole bunch of cars that are hatchbacks. So, good thing and bad thing. First, you can tell the chassis was designed for an EV because under here there's nothing and the trunk is really shallow. It's meant to have batteries and electric motors over here. When they turned it into a gasoline-powered car, they didn't mess too much with the chassis, which is a good thing because it's a very strong, very stiff chassis. But the proportions here are odd. So the reason why the trunk isn't deep is the reason why they made it into a hatchback, in my opinion. So that I purposely folded that seat so you get an idea of how much space you get over here. Numerically, it is a bigger trunk than the old Charger. Functionally, I would argue in favor of the old Charger. Rear seat. First of all, the doors are really cool frameless doors. They are really, really cool. Except the fact that you can't lower this window all the way. This is just stupid and annoying. They could have figured something out over here. Rear seats are very comfortable. Obviously, half is folded. Um, you do get you do sacrifice a little bit of a headroom, but otherwise everything is comfortable. The front is super comfortable. I'll get to the other side. It is a big ass sedan. One thing I noticed about the hood, this is the first hood that I've ever seen that didn't have a manual latch to it. You push the button on the side, it pops out, but you don't have to flip a thingy to open it, which I found interesting. Two different cooling systems, one for the turbo, the other one for the engine. The Grand Cherokee had that too. Apparently it's a common thing. The hatch on this model is powered. Press the button over here and it closes by itself like magic. It's beautiful. Let's go to the inside. Okay, what do we got here? The shifter is kind of cool, different, but it's not one of those electronic jobs, which is nice. You get to you know what I mean. Engine on off, beep beep. This is annoying. The steering when you're driving, so always make sure to disable that. I have the headlights on, so let me put them in automatic so you get better display over here. Uconnect, love it or hate it. It works really well when it works. It crashed on me twice in my 4 days of driving this car, but it works really well. For a vehicle, you do have some settings over here. You have an attitude adjustment. That sounds cool until you realize that this is just an adjustment of your interior lights, because at night they all display over here. And well, that's it. You get cameras all around. Come on. Yeah, listen. These are sensors that tells you race options and all that shit. This is kind of useless. It just tells you lap times that you're never going to do lap times in it, and then you have all this configurable stuff here. Anyway, it's a Uconnect system. You've seen one, you've seen them all. Start buttons over here, handbrake is over here, handbrake, well, whatever you want to call it, parking brake now. Light switches. Dodge finally ditched their two wheelie thingies and they put into one. Standard window stuff, memory seats. What I like about it is a lot of automakers, I don't like the square steering wheel. I'm never going to be a fan of it, but the visibility of this gauge cluster over here or this screen and that screen from the driver's perspective, it is really well. I'm holding the camera now at my eye level, and you can see that I can both see the road ahead and this display and this display quite easily. It's got a big ass glass sunroof that's not dimmable in any way, not coverable. It's an option. That's it. The sun doesn't bother me. Rear visibility, it's not great. But the sloping sunroof gives you like an old CRX kind of a perspective. You don't really see it in the mirror. In the mirror, you just see the rear window. But when you turn back, you get something cooler. Seats are very comfortable. In this case, they're leather. If you see this on the doors, it's actually lit up quite well at night. Hard buttons. You got a knob for volume. You got a knob for tune. Thank you very much. They could be bigger. They could be maybe a brighter color so that they're more visible. You have hard buttons over here. Hard buttons are good. In this case, they're bad because they're sort of, it's not a dozen buttons, it's one big button. When you press them, you end up pressing the whole bar. So you get some muscle memory retention, but you don't get the feel of an individual button, if that makes sense. So they went a little bit cheap over there, but I still give them credit for having actual physical buttons, unlike a lot of the competition. Sunroof holder over here, lights, and really that's all you got. So that's my door handles. Door handles are electronic only. You got to push a button. I think that's a carryover from an EV, because if you have an EV, you absolutely must have electronic door handles, because why would you not, right? Because evidently normal door handles are problematic, right? Give me a break. That's it. I don't know how you would open them in an emergency, but I'm sure there's some kind of an emergency pull for them. There have to be. So that's my take on this Dodge Charger. It's not a Daytona, it's an RT. Great engine, big ass heavy chassis. This thing is as wide as a full-size pickup and nearly as long. It's an extremely wide vehicle. I mean, it's 80 inches wide. It's a big ass American sedan, something that we don't really get all the time. And when I say sedan, it's a hatchback, but it does look like a sedan. I'm not crazy about the wheels. They're 20-inch wheels at this time on this model with some cheap necks and tires. There's options for different wheels and tires. That's an easy thing to swap. I have mixed feelings about it. I like it. I want to love it, but I just it's actually not bad. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually kind of like it. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to upgrade my overall opinion to I like it. I would change some minor things about it. The rear window design, this thing is just annoying. Wheels are ugly on this model, but wheels are easy to replace. I think it looks cool. I think it carries on the tradition of the old Charger. Needs a V8. Needs a V8 just for this. It doesn't need a V8, but you should have a V8 option just as a principle. I'm sure someone will shoehorn one in at some point. Thanks. Bye.